Good time of day, guys! My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. Last episode, we continued Yoigoshi as we made some choices that led to us being in the assembly hall, and apparently, Tawada's really bad at hiding bodies because we found a severed hand in the closet. Ooh. It's been a while since the last episode, so I don't remember if I have tips. We read these. Yeah. I remember now. We read these. Okay. So let's continue. You can't tell who it is just from the hand, can you? Sonozaki-san turned and pointed to the hand protruding from between the futon cushions. You're kidding? Between the futons, oh, it's the whole body. Great, even worse. Between the futons, we found a young man, one who was apparently sleeping here until a little while ago. Takumi Kurosawa. Great. No! Takumi-kun? Takumi-kun, why? How? You did it. Tawada-san rushed over to Kurosawa and shook his body, but he didn't move. And his skin tone had already turned a dull pale. It was already too late. Takumi-kun? 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 Sonozaki-san briefly raised an eyebrow, and then began to speak. It's no use. He's already dead. Dead? Why is he... It can't be! Takumi-kun, why? Why? The crying noises, it's too early in the episode. It's too early in the episode to voice someone grieving over their boyfriend's death anyways. Tawada-san clung to Kurosawa's motionless body and spilled tears over top of him. Miyuki-chan quietly stared as the situation unfolded, but eventually, she moved closer to Tawada-san and turned her eyes toward the corpse. Could you give me a moment? Takumi-kun. Tawada-san paid no heed to Miyuki-chan's words and continued crying while clutching Kurosawa's hand. She didn't want to accept the shock of losing her beloved boyfriend, but reality was dealing her a heavy blow. She did it. Why is no one questioning the fact that she was defending the closet? Tawada-san. This is really weird. Otobe? Otobe was watching all this from far away as he muttered that in a shaky voice. Because Tawada-san said he vanished around the shrine gate, right? Then what is he doing here? Because someone carried him here, obviously. But when? Well, sometime when we weren't here? But isn't that odd? We ran to the shrine gate immediately after hearing her scream. And after that, we came straight here, right? So when could someone carry him here? It could have happened while we were standing around on the stone steps for all we know, right? That's still strange! Aren't the stone steps the only way in and out of the shrine grounds? Yeah, if you're not willing to walk through trees. The rest of the area is a sheer cliff! Oh. Then, what are you saying? It's fine to have objections, but you need to substantiate them with a proper explanation. If I could do that, I wouldn't be struggling over here. Otobe sounded frustrated, then fell silent. Then Miyuki-chan stood up, gave him a pat on the shoulder, and turned to us as if taking over for him. But it is a little strange, just as Otobe-kun says. Why would the culprit stash the body in a place like this? If the goal was to hide the corpse, wouldn't it have been easier to just toss it deep in the woods? That's what I'm saying. And if Tawada did it, wouldn't she, even if it is a cliff face, just drop him off that? I guess the sentimentality? Terrible thoughts began swirling around inside my head. If the assailant killed Kurosawa outside and then hid the body in the assembly hall closet, it'd be like they were practically asking us to find it. Is his body wet, though? On top of that, there was a high risk of being spotted while moving the corpse into the assembly hall closet. But even so, despite the danger of eyewitnesses, the killer took the trouble of hiding the body in the closet. In which case, the killer had a specific goal in mind. And that goal was to reveal the corpse to us. To threaten us. Ryunosuke-san, what's that over there? Huh? Isn't that your cell phone? What? Miyuki-chan pointed toward the entrance of the assembly hall. What about this? Then she rushed over to the doorway, picked up my phone, and came running back. What was it doing over there? I left it there. Huh? That's not the criminal's handiwork. I left it over there. Thanks. However, Miyuki-chan's expression was looking increasingly firm, and then she rested her chin on her right fist, deep in thought. What's the matter? You said you left it here. But why? Huh? Oh, it just fell out of my pocket, like what happened to Otobe earlier. And it's not like it can connect to anything, so I didn't notice. Ah, so that's how it all is? But Miyuki-chan didn't say that. Miyuki-chan's face gradually clouded over as she listened to my explanation. She's getting insanely suspicious of motherfuckers. But isn't that odd? Huh? Because Otobe-kun's phone was torn apart. So why wasn't your phone destroyed too? Well, I wonder, because Otobe broke his phone. Maybe because it's not able to connect? But that's still strange. Otobe-kun's phone wasn't even usable thanks to the dead battery. Kurosawa-san's murderer came through this assembly hall to transport the corpse, right? If the same culprit was responsible for both these incidents, why would they destroy Otobe-kun's phone but leave Ryunosuke-san's phone alone? Because he could have dropped it when they came back in here earlier? After all that? Well, a terrible thought came to mind and I started feeling nauseous. The direction this conversation was headed was quite simple and rather cruel. My phone is simply unable to connect. But aside from the battery issue, there's still a chance that Otobe's phone can connect. Shouldn't that be reason enough to treat the two phones differently? If that's the case, how did the culprit know all that? Indeed. You'd think they would have no way of knowing which phones can and can't connect. Even if the phone didn't get any signal where it was found, there was still a chance it could connect after moving it to another location. Which means this is the work of the curse? Tawada-san said that while still holding Kurosawa's body close to her chest. The curse? Am I wrong? If this was done by the curse, wouldn't Oyashiro-sama be able to tell which phone is able to connect? Tawada-san said that while gazing into the face of her dead lover like he was simply asleep. However, I couldn't agree with her assessment. No, I doubt it. At least, I think there's a much more likely possibility. It seems strange for an occult specialist to suggest this, but I was hesitant to accept the curse explanation so easily. Another possibility? Right. There's a very simple explanation. Group shot, one of us did this. All of us knew that particular piece of information, which means one of us is responsible for breaking Otobe's phone. Right? It's natural to think so. But that's not the only explanation, right? We were all in the ritual storehouse when Kurosawa-san and Tawada-san were attacked. If that's the case, the person who attacked Kurosawa-san and Tawada-san and broke my phone can't be one of us. Hey, do you understand what you're saying? I understand! That's why it has to be someone else who broke my phone and attacked Kurosawa-san and Tawada-san. Otobe-kun, calm down. But it's not like Tawada-san killed Kurosawa-san, so you're turning your suspicion toward me, aren't you? Good job, you solved the mystery for a moment there. Seriously, I'm not the culprit! Nobody said anything like that, right? So can you calm down? He broke the phone, but Tawada killed Kurosawa, so yeah, he's basically explaining it to us. Otobe was breathing erratically, so Miyuki-chan tried to comfort him, but her eyes were still carefully watching his expression. Ryunosuke-san doesn't suspect you. If that were the case, wouldn't he have just as much reason to suspect me? Right, Ryunosuke-san? Right. I probably should have said it's not like that right there. But I lacked the confidence to actually say it for sure like Miyuki-chan did. At any rate, we need to organize our thoughts on everything that's happening. Not only was the phone broken to prevent us from getting in touch with the outside, but around the same time our cars disappeared to remove our means of escape. And then, Kurosawa was murdered. He was murdered a long time ago. Putting all that together, I can think of only one fate this is leading us to. A massacre! Massacre? I don't know if the murderer is a human or a ghost of Hinamizawa, but regardless, the culprit is keeping us here and planning to pick us off one by one in this bloodbath. So, the first one was taken out as a show of force. Maybe the culprit is even nearby right now, watching us and smirking quietly. Please stop making such distasteful jokes. He's right, Ryunosuke-san. You're going too far. Then what on earth is this all about? It's likely as Arakawa-san says. Huh? All who step foot in this village are possessed and then killed by the murderous spirits of the dead. First was Takumi-kun, and next is... Stop it! Not you too, Tawada-san! But can you think of another explanation? If that's not the case, then who are you saying killed Takumi-kun? You. Tawada-san rubbed Kurosawa's cheek with a hollow look in her eyes as she said that. None of us could respond to her declaration. A vague feeling of anxiety was building up inside of me thanks to that one specific line of reasoning, and I wanted to speak up, to say that idea sounded delusional. However, I didn't have enough solid evidence, so I couldn't dispute it. And there was also the fact that I still couldn't dispel my fear and insecurity about this so-called curse. When I turned around, I found Sonozaki-san chuckling to herself while listening to our discussion. Sonozaki-san? Something so ridiculous can't possibly exist. Ridiculous? What is that supposed to mean? When Sonozaki-san saw the look of protest in my eyes, she let out a heavy sigh. It sounds like you've all been reading too many weird mystery and occult novels. That may be true, and even I think it's ridiculous, but I stand my ground. Sonozaki-san, just so you know, I find you more suspicious than any of us. Me? Oh. I have no idea why you're wandering around in a place like this wearing a kimono. And walking around carrying a katana is a clear violation of the Swords and Firearms Control Act. And more importantly, the person named Mion Sonozaki died 20 years ago. I hit Sonozaki-san with my trump card. However, her expression didn't change at all. So, is there something you want to say? Just, who the hell are you? Who am I? Didn't I tell you earlier? I'm Mion Sonozaki, a former resident of Hinamizawa. Stop messing around! What would a dead person be doing wandering around in a place like... Suddenly, the sound of something slicing through the air struck my ear. When I looked down, I saw Sonozaki-san's sword right against my neck. I wouldn't say anything more if I were you. I could slice all of you down in a single blow. It would only take a moment. After staring at the look of horror on my face for a while, Sonozaki-san returned the sword to its sheath. Only the weak would conceal a murder. Someone like that would be no match for me. So, this has nothing to do with me. After saying that, Sonozaki-san once again pulled out her scroll and spread it out. She seemed to lose all interest in our conversation, and focused her attention exclusively on the scroll. Sonozaki-san. Otobe tugged at my sleeve as if to say, please wait, and then entered the conversation. It's just as Arakawa-san says. There are a lot of reasons to be suspicious of Mion-san. When I first met her, I thought I couldn't trust her. When you first met? I first met Mion-san close to here. I got lost. No matter where I wandered, I couldn't find my way. On top of that, anytime I stopped walking, I felt like I could hear an extra footstep. You heard an extra footstep? Yeah. I've heard that myself several times. Near the suicide car and within the shrine grounds. Looking back at the source of that laughter, Sonozaki-san was still staring at the scroll. What was Sonozaki-san laughing about? Or did I just imagine her laughing? I wasn't sure. Arakawa-san? Right. It's nothing. What happened next? Next? Oh, the conversation trailed off a bit. Anyway. So, on top of being separated from everyone, I was hearing those footsteps. I was completely terrified. I felt totally helpless and didn't know what to do. But then I noticed Mion-san standing nearby, and she was nice enough to guide me here. That's why I'm convinced Mion-san isn't a bad person. It sounded like Otobe was trying to appeal specifically to me. However, it was Miyuki-chan who calmly disputed his assertion. You can't judge people simply by their appearance. Miyuki-chan? Indeed, Sonozaki-san may not be a bad person, but not all crimes are committed with malicious or selfish intentions. I think there are situations where even a good person needs to kill someone. Hearing where this conversation was going left a bad taste in my mouth. Didn't you already say something like that? The way she said that, it sounded like she had killed someone herself. I don't know Sonozaki-san's history, but I don't know your history either. Otobe-kun, did you really drive here with your friends? Yes, that's right. I wonder if that's really true. Did you actually have friends to begin with? Otobe began trembling for some reason. Once again, he started acting that way as soon as we began discussing the friends who came here with him. Why are you asking that all of a sudden? However, rather than saying, sorry for suspecting you, Miyuki-chan wouldn't leave it at that. I don't believe you're telling the truth. That's all. What's that supposed to mean? Why would you accuse me like that? Why, you ask? I guess you could call it a bit of intuition. Miyuki-chan stared at Otobe while he bit at his lip, but his eyes reminded me of a small animal being stalked by a hunter. Didn't you start out saying you were driving to an occult spot with your friends? Sorry, but I don't think you're the sort of person who would enjoy something like that. You're the kind of person who would be terrified of that sort of thing, right? Plus, you may say that you're worried about your friends, but unlike Tawada-san, you've made little effort to search for your companions. Why is that? Please tell me. Well, Miyuki-chan relentlessly pursued her psychological attack against Otobe. And one by one, the arguments she made were all strangely convincing. As I listened to their exchange, something felt unfathomable about Miyuki-chan's powers of observation. I am worried about everyone! Please, don't suggest otherwise! Plus, my friends were the ones who decided to drive here. They told me Hinamizawa was a nice place to visit. Well then, how many people did you come here with? There were 3 others. 3 people. So 4 including you. By the way, were you the only male in that group? No, there was 1 other guy and 2 girls. So, some kind of double date? If that's the case, I suppose one of them was your girlfriend? Assuming shit. Aren't you worried about her? For all you know, she could have been killed by the curse. Didn't I already tell you I'm worried? Besides, we're not together. We're just friends. What is this? The feeling of unease that had been accumulating in my chest for a while now was gradually shaping into suspicion. Was it directed at Otobe? Or maybe... Otobe-kun, what is it you're hiding? At the very least, you're not an ordinary student, are you? I'm not hiding anything! I'm just a college student! What's so weird about me? Besides, what about you? Me? You don't look anything like a freelance writer. Is that so? Then what is it? What's strange about me? Please tell me. I want to understand, okay? Right, Ryunosuke-san? Miyuki-chan looked straight at me as she asked that. I couldn't say anything in response. Miyuki-chan certainly didn't look like a freelance writer to me either. No, a writer like that certainly could exist, and Otobe was clearly stooping to retaliatory arguments. He was probably just saying the first thing that came to mind. But still, I still had no idea who Miyuki-chan really was. So, are you satisfied? Baseless suspicion won't get us anywhere, you know? Right. Miyuki-chan finally ceased her assault and turned to me with a smile. It was nice that our conversation got back on track, but seriously, who the hell is this girl? Anyway, a little mutual distrust is only natural in this situation, right? If we all stick together, no one should be able to lay a hand on us. Well, you're right about that. We'll be fine if we stay here until morning. There's nothing to be afraid of as long as the 5 of us stay together. Don't you mean the 6 of us? Huh? Even though one of us is already dead? Tawada-san was still clinging to Kurosawa. Staring at the corpse started to give me a headache. I've got a bad feeling about this. We were in the middle of a village where demons and the dead dwelled, wandering and hunting down the living. Could this corpse rise up like a zombie and start feasting on human flesh? This is the work of the curse. I'm sure it's the curse. The curse? What do you mean it's the curse? I was so frustrated that I shouted in a pathetic voice. When it comes to curses in Hinamizawa, the answer is always the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Is Oyashiro-sama's curse going to befall us for entering the ritual storehouse? Or maybe the aliens who possess the people of Hinamizawa have awoken and they're trying to control us? No, that can't be it. And first off, isn't obsessing over the word curse like that an admission that you've given up on thinking critically? Ryunosuke-san, please calm down. Sonozaki-san! You're from this village, right? If you know something, please tell us! Sonozaki-san was still reading the scroll. She closed her eyes and lightly rubbed them with both hands, then slowly opened them. Everyone carefully watched her every move, in complete silence. Then she rolled up the scroll and tied it with a string like it had been originally. Now that you mention it, this does remind me of a tale I've heard about Oyashiro-sama. When someone is chosen as a sacrifice, they start hearing mysterious footsteps coming from behind. Then maybe you're Oyashiro-sama's messenger. Not a chance! Sonozaki-san's eyes became viciously sharp. I couldn't help but choke on my breath after witnessing a level of rage I'd never experienced before. Naturally, there are many things that I know. However, the murder that happened here has nothing to do with me. And of course, it has nothing to do with Oyashiro-sama. Besides, the shoddy incident can't be the curse of Oyashiro-sama! Tawada-san's spirit was being pushed to the limit. Her shoulders were shaking. Then Sonozaki-san got up and slowly stepped beside her. Is she gonna say the thing everyone knew? Step aside.
Huh?
I said step aside.
Oh. Right.
Tawada-san timidly moved away from Kurosawa's corpse while Sonozaki-san looked down on the corpse with cold eyes. Then she turned around and faced each of us, one after another. First, we need to ask, why did the culprit bring the corpse here? We were talking about that earlier. To threaten... No, you're not thinking here. Try thinking a little harder. Sonozaki-san outright dismissed that theory. Then she relentlessly fixated her gaze straight ahead, toward Tawada-san.
Just how are we supposed to know that?
Well, let me try to explain my reasoning. What if this corpse wasn't carried here? What if it was here the whole time? Huh? What is that supposed to mean? I mean, exactly what I said. He wasn't brought here from outside, and of course he wasn't attacked outside. Then Kurosawa was... We only ever saw him sleeping wrapped in a blanket. In other words, Takumi Kurosawa may very well have been dead before we even arrived here. Yeah, so... I'm absolutely right. The air around us froze as soon as Sonozaki-san presented her theory. She was right. We never actually saw Kurosawa moving around. But if that was the case, it meant Kurosawa was dead from the very start. But no, he was murdered? If so, the one person who could have killed him was... No way. What is this? Are you seriously suggesting that Tawada-san murdered Kurosawa? Hold on! Mion-san! If Tawada-san really killed him, why didn't she run away immediately? That sounds really weird. That's true. I nodded to confirm Motobei's observation. She had no reason to lie to us about being attacked and then come back here. That's certainly true. Maybe that counter-argument got through to her. Sonozaki-san held her hand to her mouth like she was considering it. But after a brief thought, she turned toward Tawada-san, and I turned toward my water bottle. Nice. I don't know why I always say that. I guess because there's no ice in it. I don't know. It's just some fucking tick or something. I don't know. There's a bug in my brain saying every time you drink water on recording, you have to say noise. Even though you never say that normally when you drink water. I assure you I don't. You're just going to say that, I don't know, because why not? Her shoulders were drooped and she had a look of terror on her face, like she was being stalked by a predator. I don't know why this girl came back here. Maybe she intended to run away, but some circumstance forced her to return here.
What kind of circumstance?
Perhaps the truth is, she made the mistake of seeing someone. Someone that caused her to blame the curse. Tawada-san's face froze over. Could it be? She got it right on the mark? Someone? Who? Sonozaki-san continued staring at Tawada-san, without acknowledging my question. Her gaze had enough power behind it to stop an opponent in their tracks with just a mere glance. Tawada, I know you'd rather not show off your dead lover's body, but would it be alright if we gave it a brief examination? Only for a minute. We need to take Kurosawa's body out of the futons to look at it, alright?
I told you already. It's because of the curse, okay?
Her voice quivered as she said that, doing her utmost to resist. However, her counter-argument lacked the power to stop it. Indeed, that may be so. However, there's something I want to verify. If Takumi Kurosawa was attacked outside as you told us, his body should still be soaked from the rain. Exactly. At the very least, the hem of his pants should be caked with rain and mud. Do you mind if we verify that? Tawada-san was in absolutely no position to refuse. Sonozaki-san reached for the futon covering Kurosawa. But before she could do anything, Tawada-san grabbed the futon and pulled it over in a flash. What? Wait. Miyuki-chan examined Kurosawa's feet before slowly turning her eyes toward Tawada-san. Kurosawa's socks and the hems of his pants had not a single trace of mud and no signs of wetness. They were as clean as freshly washed. See, I was right. Oh, okay. See, I thought there was going to be some sentimentality here, but no, she's just crazy. Okay. Sawada-san?
Oh, man. I didn't realize we had a great detective here. Just a little longer, and I could have regained my peaceful life.
Tawada-san faintly smiled at us. I felt something rather chilling from her smile. There was a self-loathing beneath it, an effort to disguise the regret behind earlier mistakes.
It's just as Sonozaki-san says. Before all of you arrived here, I killed Takumi-kun.
Sonozaki-san simply stared at Tawada-san without saying a word. I had no words to respond to Tawada-san's incriminating confession.
So when you told us the two of you were attacked by the shrine gate, that was a lie too? I'm sorry. By the time I went to the shrine gate, Takumi-kun was already dead.
Then she paused her explanation for a moment and thought.
I really did love Takumi-kun. And because I loved him, I had to kill him.
Great. Oh, chapter split. Yay. Ah, the evil eyes sprite. Ah, as if we haven't already had one on Miyuki, at least. Whatever that's meant to entail. Sure. Do not throw any tips at me. Okay, good. So then now what? And this is still technically a bad route, so like, what's happening? How does that make any sense? If you loved him, why did you kill him? That was probably a rather imprudent question for a normal person. Love and hate were two sides of the same coin. Thinking a little deeper, if the positives were replaced with negatives, love could transform into hatred. And once in a while, that transition can fill you with violent urges, leading you to lash out at your partner's skill issue. Though I have no room to talk because I have zero experience. Hey! However, I thought that very few people actually experience that progression. No matter how intense your hatred, if your partner is someone truly special to you, it's important to accept them or reach a compromise. You should be able to do that. But for a person to give in to their urge to kill in spite of all that, isn't that an outright denial of the affection they felt up until that point? I don't understand. Did your lover do something to betray you? Something unforgivable?
No, Takumi-kun wouldn't do something like that. It's just that I wanted to get rid of Takumi-kun.
Get rid of him?
It's been nearly 7 years since Takumi-kun and I started dating. So long, yet so short. We met during my first year of college.
Oh, so you're in your upper 20s. You're a little older than I expected. Tawada-san raised her head and gazed off in the distance. That moment, an image emerged on the back of her eyelids. No, wait, 7 years. She'd be in her mid-20s, because you can start college at, like, 17. So she's as young as 24. Oh, she's older than I expected. 1 year older than me. Fuck's sake. Ah, I'm old. Ah! Ah! Jesus Christ. That moment, an image emerged on the back of her eyelids. A little old school building, not far from the city center. A massive green lawn was visible from the 4th floor of the school building. Our class was in the very last classroom on the far end of the building. I finally got accepted into the college I'd been hoping to attend, so everything was looking bright. But things were a bit difficult for me because I was a year younger than my classmates. Okay, wait, so She's for sure 24 or 23? Jeez, now the minimum age she could be is 23. Oh, you're older than I expected, literally my age. Christ. But things were a bit difficult for me. Yeah, I started to develop an inferiority complex about it. And after enrolling, I spent most of my time alone. Hey, Tawada-san. Are you interested in attending a live concert next Sunday?
Huh?
One day, a male classmate spoke to me for the very first time. He was still quite young and had a youthful look on his face. He looked a little scrawny and his clothes were a bit sloppy, but I was fascinated by the huge, pure smile on his face.
A concert?
Yeah, a concert. Do you like music, Tawada-san?
Yeah, a little.
A little.
Who is performing at this concert?
I am. Me. Who else would it be?
Huh?
I'm putting together a band. Actually, I write my own songs, too. And I'm rather proud of my work. Honestly, I was totally shocked. I didn't have any special skills of my own. So for someone to be able to pick up music while also studying for school, it felt like he was from a totally different world. Not just a celebrity, but a divine being. He even did his own composition and spoke to people to convince them to attend his concerts. That's not something you can do without a great deal of confidence in your skills. And a person with such unprecedented talent was standing directly in front of me, right now. So I was completely starstruck. It was a wonderful feeling. So, how about it? If you're busy, I understand.
Oh!
I was so stunned by the sudden situation that I couldn't find the words. Perhaps due to that, his voice suddenly grew uneasy. After seeing that, I understood. Of course, this guy was putting on a brave face for my sake. All just for me, the one who stuck out in our class.
Is that really okay? I don't know much about music, though.
Of course, that's fine. It'll be great, I promise. As soon as I responded that it was okay, he put on a huge, bright smile. Honestly, he was like a child. But I found that innocence wonderful, from the bottom of my heart.
So, where are you performing? Can you tell me the location?
Right! Here's the ticket and the flyer. Oh, don't worry about money, it's completely free. Alright, it's a promise then. I'll be waiting for you! Takumi-kun wrapped his little finger around my little finger as he promised that with a beaming smile on his face. Then he ran out of the classroom. That was my first time locking fingers with a boy. My heart was beating fast, and it didn't take much time after that before we got together. Since we were in the same class, we were always together. The two of us went to all sorts of places together every week, and I went to see all his concerts. Takumi Kurosawa-kun, was playing the guitar, and was fortunate enough to have a bunch of fans. Fangirls would come to the concerts and stare longingly at Takumi-kun. There were so many girls for Takumi-kun to choose from, and they were always cheering for him. But even so, Takumi-kun's eyes were always on me. I was the one he cherished most. And that made me so happy. It was a blessing. I'm seriously aiming to go pro after college.
Pro?
I've always wanted to make a living off my music. As long as you're with me, Yai, and I can make a living just playing my music, I don't need anything else. And so, I've decided. I enjoyed hearing Takumi-kun talk about his dreams. Takumi-kun's eyes glittered and sparkled anytime he told me about his future ambitions. If we ever move in together, I want to get a Dachshund. I'd like to live near a big park and try doing the radio exercises together every morning, even as we grow old. I want to play a concert at the Budokan and propose to you right after finishing my best song. He was seriously considering these things, laughing like a child all the while. But despite that, I was feeling the opposite. I was quite anxious. If he really does make a big hit and become a celebrity, he'll be surrounded by fans and other stars. If that were to happen, would Takumi-kun's feelings for me stay the same? I believe that he loves me very much right now, but as his position changes, his point of view will change, and his values along with it. When that happens, will I be able to follow him? Or will he leave me behind? That dreadful future haunted my thoughts, sometimes even my dreams. And so, there came a day when I asked him about it.
Hey, Takumi-kun. If some horrible disaster plagued our world and forced you to choose between your music or me, which would you choose?
Oh, great, an ultimatum. You were going so great. But whatever, I kind of understand where you'd come from on something like that. Huh? What is this? What is that supposed to mean?
Oh, well, I saw a story like that on TV the other day.
That was a lie, of course. It truly was a ridiculous, nonsensical question. But Takumi-kun smiled like usual, and without hesitation, he gave me an answer with a serious look on his face. I don't know what sort of horrible disaster you're talking about, but if my only options are you or my music, I definitely choose you, Yai.
Really?
Of course. I could live without my music, but honestly, I don't even want to imagine life without you.
Takumi-kun.
I was elated. He wasn't just saying that. It felt like he truly meant it. I was deeply moved. I always felt warm and happy when I was with Takumi-kun. Just being around him made me feel at ease.
Takumi-kun, I love you.
You idiot. I love you even more than you can imagine.
No way,
I started to speak up, but Takumi-kun kissed me. Those were a sweet, delightful 4 years. I graduated from college and got a job doing clerical work for a small trading company. It was a company I had never heard of, and it didn't have very many employees, but the company was doing solid business. Takumi-kun, on the other hand, couldn't find a job anywhere. He sincerely wanted to concentrate all his strength on his music career. Takumi-kun's life hadn't changed much since his college days. Just that the time he spent in lectures was replaced with a part-time job. The band members' faces didn't change either. Just like in our college days, I attended Takumi-kun's concerts every week. So, our relationship never really settled down. Nevertheless, over the coming years, the people around us started getting married and skipping the band to take care of their kids. Takumi-kun's band members started giving up on the band, one after another.
Takumi-kun, are you alright? You've been feeling down recently, haven't you?
I'm alright. I'm just busy at work, so I'm not getting enough sleep. Although Takumi-kun said as much, I could tell he was feeling irritated. He was having trouble replacing missing band members recently, and he was struggling to find the money to open a studio or put on any concerts. Our college friends were getting ready to buy condos or build houses. However, Takumi-kun was still struggling with the fact that his musical career wasn't opening up. Even after all this time, he looked deeply troubled. So one day when I came back from work...
Hey, Takumi-kun, why don't we live together?
Huh? I was the one to suggest it. I knew that Takumi-kun was suffering, so I wanted to be by his side to make it better, even if only a little bit. I wanted to do whatever I could to help.
If we live together, our expenses will be cut in half. And if we cook for ourselves properly, we can save a lot of money there too. If we put some of that money toward your music career, maybe it will make your troubles a little lighter.
Are you really okay with that? Yai, you...
It's fine. I want to do it.
Yai. Takumi-kun didn't answer right away. That seemed natural. Regardless of how I felt about it, I'd be formally agreeing to cover part of his expenses. No, perhaps almost all of them. However, I had already decided, and I was fine with it.
Takumi-kun, you're able to do things I could never do. You have incredible talent, beyond my imagination. So, I want to support you. There's a world out there I can never see on my own. But if I could see even a little of it standing by your side, would that be so bad?
No, but...
I'm sure it'll happen. It's alright. I believe in you. So let me make you believe too, Takumi-kun. In the lovely world from your dreams you're having now.
Yai. Then Takumi-kun hugged me so tight that it hurt, and I cried, just a little. Despite the pain in my arms, despite the burning of those teardrops, I felt happy. Yes, I truly did feel happy. And then we started living together. There were all sorts of problems that came from the two of us living together, and it was more difficult than I thought. But that was all blown away by the tremendous joy I got out of it. I don't want to be a bother for you, Yai. If you're unhappy, you're allowed to tell me about it, you know?
Yeah.
Yai, you'll still be standing by my side when I make my major debut, right?
Well, of course. I'll support you. I'll stand by your side as you chase your dreams, Takumi-kun. Because I love you.
Takumi-kun was always so kind. On paydays, he would always bring home my favorite cake. Just remembering those days brings a tear to my eye. We were so full of love. Those days are irreplaceable. However,
shortly after that, Takumi-kun started to change.
Tawada-san turned her gaze downward, and the next moment, thump, I heard a sound coming from the doorway. Cock sword. Sonozaki-san's complexion quickly changed as she rose to her feet. She grabbed the sword resting by her side and stood there without making a sound. Sonozaki-san? Quiet. Sonozaki-san held her breath and listened carefully. Rustle. Someone is there. Just outside the assembly hall. That was the sound of another person moving around. I'm certain of it. Miyuki-chan's face turned pale as she suddenly reached into her knapsack. Tawada-san held her mouth shut, while Otobe and I focused all the strength in our bodies on listening to the sounds coming from outside. What the hell is this? Who on earth could it be? Shh! Sonozaki-san turned back toward Otobe, who was trembling and shouting, and held a finger to her mouth. You guys need to stay here. What about you? I have to do a little cleaning up. After that proclamation, Sonozaki-san unsheathed her sword and walked toward the entrance. Wait, Sonozaki-san? Ugh! I started to chase after her, but something immediately startled me. I heard the sound of someone fiddling with a gun. Yep, I knew it. The thing Miyuki-chan pulled out of her knapsack was a black handgun. Miyuki-chan? I was so shocked my voice was quivering. We were all listening to Tawada-san's story until a moment ago, but the situation blew up in an instant.
Sonozaki-san, I'll go too.
Very well. Come on. What the hell are you guys? I was so shocked I couldn't string together a sentence. Sonozaki-san's katana was alarming enough, but Miyuki-chan... Why did she have a gun?
Ryunosuke-san, please stay here with the others.
You know we can't do that! I rushed after Miyuki-chan. Me too! I'll go with you! Otobe also scrambled to his feet, but it seemed pretty clear that he was following after us out of fear. I don't have the courage to enter a battlefield where people are armed with katanas and guns any more than he does. But I'm even more afraid of staying here. Oh! Just as I was about to leave the room, I looked back to see Tawada-san still sitting idly on the floor, gazing into Kurosawa's face. Tawada-san.
I'll stay here.
Staying here may cost you your life.
Understood.
Sonozaki-san stared at Tawada-san for a moment, then let out a sigh before walking out. How could she kill the man she loved? She spoke calmly as she recounted her story, but the pain and sorrow were still there. However, I still hadn't heard her reason for killing him. Will we survive long enough to hear the rest? I lamented leaving Tawada-san behind while I made my way out of the area. The rain was still coming down. I couldn't see anything outside. The surrounding area was completely swallowed by the darkness. Stay still until your eyes adjust, and don't make a sound. After she said that, I held my breath and took a look around. I can't see anything. Why is the air so tense? Miyuki-chan stood behind me with a gun in hand, focusing her ears on the darkness around us. Suddenly, I heard Otobe's footsteps. Sorry. It's fine, just be quiet. The next moment, I heard the voices of a few men and could see several flashlights waving all around us. They're here! Where? Get down! We ducked down to avoid the flashlights. However, the voices were gradually growing closer and more numerous. Is this just the mountain dogs again? Why are they still here? Sonozaki-san tightly clenched the handle of her sword. No good. Looks like I'll have to clean up everything at once. I'm sorry. What? This'll save us time and effort. Actually, Otobe, can I ask you a favor? Sonozaki-san held a hand to her mouth and whispered something to Otobe, who was hanging his head down, perhaps regretting his blunder. Got it? Yes! That switch over there turns on all the lights in the shrine grounds. On my signal, flip that switch and run with all your strength. Run? Which way? To the thicket over there, or anywhere, really. These people are coming here to shoot us all. Everyone, just scatter and run away. Otobe swallowed his spit, then looked over at me. I nodded as hard as I could. I truly might lose my life right here. Despite that premonition, I felt strangely calm. Maybe this is actually a dream? Sonozaki-san's sword and Miyuki-chan's gun felt so out of place. They seemed more like toys. Besides, why would Miyuki-chan even have a gun in the first place? Now! Otobe pressed a switch on the side of the entrance. There were a lot of switches by the entrance, and Otobe wasn't sure which ones to press, so he started flipping them at random. Electric lights scattered throughout the shrine grounds started lighting up, one by one. Bang, bang, bang! Oops. Sounds like exploding firecrackers echoed from all sides. So, this isn't a dream after all. How many enemies are out there? Hurry! Run away! As soon as Sonozaki-san shouted that, Otobe and I bolted out of the assembly hall. To the right? To the left? Which way should we go? Ryunosuke-san! This way! Run straight ahead! I turned in the direction of Miyuki-chan's voice and ran, straight through the rain. I heard an enemy bullet strike the ground nearby as I ran past the telephone pole. Ryunosuke-san! No, CG. Miyuki-chan pointed her handgun toward the darkness and fired several shots. The gun smoke wafted to the tip of my nose. Out of the way, it's dangerous! 2 more to the left. 1, 2, 3. A few more shots rang out. Bang, bang. Through the smoke and rain, I could see a man in a black suit. A bright red spurt of blood emerged from the tip of his shoulder. Then he collapsed from Miyuki-chan's bullet. Miyuki-chan skillfully swapped in a new magazine. A man in black used that brief gap to point his gun in this direction. Thump. Someone came at Miyuki-chan and me from the side and pulled us down to the ground. A bullet fired by the man in black struck the patch of mud where I was standing just a moment ago. Be careful. Thanks. We dodged that attack by the skin of our teeth. Sonozaki-san was the one who tackled us. Sonozaki-san charged toward the men in black with her katana in hand. 5 or 6 men had already fallen throughout the shrine grounds, so the number still standing was probably around 3 or 4. Most of your comrades have already fallen. If the rest of you don't value your lives, come on out. Damn it. Die! A man in black pointed his gun towards Sonozaki-san and pulled the trigger. Click. I heard the sound of the gun firing empty. Sonozaki-san had a huge grin on her face as she slashed the man in black with her katana. Chia! Ah! Sonozaki-san's sword, sliced through the pit of his stomach. The man's body folded over as he fell to his knees. Cold rain and smoke bore down on the few men in black still standing. Damn you!
Over here!
Another man in black turned his muzzle toward Sonozaki-san, but Miyuki-chan fired at him without hesitation. The next moment, right before our eyes, the handgun flew from the man's hand and danced in the air. The two of them quickly looked at one another and lightly smiled. It was like watching an action movie. Sonozaki-san and Miyuki-chan were fighting spectacularly, right before my eyes. Even though they were fighting for their lives, every move they made was beautiful. Soon enough, the men in black recognized the gap in their capabilities, and they all fled at once. Sonozaki-san flicked her thoroughly soaked sword, then wiped the blade clean with a tissue. Miyuki-chan once again reloaded her still smoking gun as she slowly walked toward me. I had no choice but to watch them, dumbfounded. Just who the hell are you guys? Mion-san, Sorimachi-san. Otobe's voice was trembling, the same most likely true for me. Sonozaki-san took a quick glance toward Miyuki-chan, but she quickly moved on and smiled toward Otobe.
We're alright. For now.
That didn't answer any of my questions. Who were those people that attacked us? And who was Miyuki-chan really? However, I could tell the current atmosphere wasn't right for seeking answers, though I didn't feel like I'd be getting a chance to ask anytime soon. For now, let's head back to the assembly hall. Let's turn off the lights around the shrine grounds. Understood. I immediately acknowledged her request, like some Yakuza henchman. I don't think I've responded like that since elementary school. As soon as we returned to the assembly room, we discovered a cup of tea spilled by our feet. Oh, did they get her? Tawada-san! And, right next to Kurosawa's corpse, we found Tawada-san laying on the ground. Well, drat. I really hope these two, like, all these choices don't lead to ridiculously different paths, because if this was originally a manga, then God. A coward's remorse. Alright, well, we have time for that. We got time for a coward's remorse. Here we go. Probably has to do with Tawada, if I had to guess. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know how many times I've regretted my actions since then. I would always come back to my senses after doing something I could never take back, and fall into intense self-loathing that drove me to want to destroy myself. And the cycle never ended. Let this be the last time. From now on, I'll repent and straighten things out. I said that over and over, so many times that I was disgusted. In the end, I'll always get triggered by the most truly insignificant things, and I'll do it anyway. When we started dating, I was supposed to pull her closer. Oh, this is Takumi's perspective, okay. She was a little indecisive and shy, but her gentle smile was so cute. I swore to myself that I'd make her the happiest person in the world, with my own 2 hands. Before I knew it, the overflowing talent I thought I was blessed with slowly dried up. When I noticed how much my rusty arms squeaked as I moved them, I understood. I lacked the strength to do it, and I even lacked the right to do it. But despite all that, she was always smiling and watching over me. No matter how useless I became, she always surrounded me in the same tenderness. No, that's a lie. The truth is, even she should realize it sooner or later. That even if we're together, that's not enough to make her happy. And I don't have the power to make it reality. So, in that case, what should I do? Apologize to her? Abandon my aspirations up until this point and let her down, yet ask her to stay with me regardless? I can't do that. There's no way I could. If the truth of my situation were exposed, there's no way she could continue to love me, being the pathetic dog I am. She fell in love with me because I was talented and brimming with confidence. So how could she ever be attracted to a weak, talentless man like me? Now that both of those things are gone, wouldn't it be impossible for the feelings in her heart to go on? I was afraid. I was afraid of her looking down on me, giving up on me, and abandoning me. That's why. Even though I'd resolved myself to make things easier for her and finally obtained this after shedding blood and tears, I couldn't show it to her. If I show her that, maybe she'll be delighted. At the very least, I won't be lazing about like I am right now, so that should make life a little easier. That way, the weight on her back can get a little lighter, and maybe she'll be able to smile again. But what about me? Is it possible for her to continue loving me? After all, I've already demonstrated myself as a completely mediocre guy. Can we really keep the relationship going like before? You know, some people shoot themselves in the foot too much by calling themselves mediocre, because there's nothing wrong with mediocre, you know? If you're mediocre, that means you're not bad, you know? And that's a good thing. I don't know if that's a glass half full or glass half empty way of looking at it, but you know what I mean. That's why I'm self-loathing, because I'm not even mediocre. Anyways, the beer tasted awful, but feeling drunk might help me take that step anyway. Even if I keep drinking like I have been these days, I still can't bring myself to gather the courage to show her. I'm terrified by the prospect of losing her love. Okay. So when she said he changed... Yeah, it is up in the air. They implied he's abusive, but... that implies he's at least not trying to be. So that's great. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this episode. I don't know how long this fucking arc is, but I don't want to pull a Suki Otoshi and record for 4 hours. We could be nearing the end of it. I don't know about the different paths or whatnot, but we'll see eventually. Yeah. That's gonna be it for this episode. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye! Yeah!